Well, hello everyone, and isn't this a nice surprise? I know I haven't done a no Game Pass house in ages, which I thought that the time now would be very appropriate to make one. It's a fairly budget-friendly build compared to my other ones, as it only costs $331,000. This house features 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a laundry room, 2 living rooms, and a big backyard, which I think is one of the highlights of this house. Before I get into anything else, I need to say that the decals used are all from my inventory, which is going to be linked down below in the description. So don't worry, you're going to find it all there, but first you have to follow me on Roblox in order to access the inventory, so just keep that in mind. As a lot of you may actually know, I am not very experienced with no Game Pass houses. I find it so difficult to make one, and this was such a huge challenge. But there's nothing impossible, am I right? So even though this did take me a while to figure out, I'm so glad that I did this, and I feel like it's safe to say that this is definitely the best no Game Pass house I've made. Not the point that I've made like 4 in the past 3 years, but let's just forget about that, okay? But moving on to the backyard, we can find lots of different seating area and one dining area. So if you don't feel like eating inside, you could always just do it outside when the weather is nice. You also have a fire pit and then, of course, a big pool. I felt like adding a pool was really necessary with these big windows so you could see something looking out to your backyard. And on the other house wing, which we're entering right now, we have 2 bedrooms, one being the master, the other being the kids' bedroom, a laundry room, and the car garage. As you can see, I really wanted to make a walk-in closet to the master bedroom, as I feel like this house is definitely big enough for one. The unfortunate thing is that I wasn't able to add a master bathroom, so this bedroom and the kids' bedroom will have to share a bathroom together. But when you really think about it, that's really not that big of a deal. Honestly, it was just the diagonal part that was really messing up things for me, so it was really hard to figure out the layout of this specific part. My overall goal with this house was to actually not make it feel like a no Game Pass, because on one hand, I definitely don't feel like it's one, but then when you really look at it, it really starts feeling like one, but maybe it's just me, so I'm actually interested to hear what you guys think about it. Well, and one of my favorite rooms in the house is definitely the kids' bedroom, which we're seeing right now. I really like the color scheme, even though the shape was extremely hard to work with. I find it very odd, but in the end, I'm glad I kind of made it work. And lastly, we of course have the free car garage, which is fairly big for a no Game Pass house. If you really need to, I'm pretty sure you can fit 4 cars in this garage, so you got plenty of space for your vehicles. But that is it for the tour. Keep watching for floor plans, credits, and speed build. And as always, this is the time when I give people credits, so this house doesn't require that many credits as I've only used 2 major building hacks. But I'd like to give credits to my friend GabbsOfficial for the roof trimming hack, and my good friend Egwynox for the custom landscaping. She found a way to use the transparent decals without any game passes, which is absolutely amazing. And lastly, I'd like to credit my friend Noki for this one basket decal that's in the master bathroom. But that's it, and all of the people I've mentioned will be linked down below in the description, and I'd really like you to check them out as they're all very talented. I'll let you enjoy the speed build now. Well, hello again, and welcome to the speedbuild part of the video, the speedbuild voiceover, the more exciting part for me at least, because I have so much more fun recording a regular voiceover rather than one for a tour or something. I have to apologize in advance for the background noise. If you can hear any, you probably will be able to during the video, as I do have my window open. Honestly, I can't even tell you how hot it has been lately. Well, okay, I guess it depends. For me, it's very hot, as I'm definitely not used to these kind of temperatures. And I mean, in Lithuania, our houses aren't necessarily, like, built to keep the heat out. Instead, it's really just built to keep the heat in. Well, because our winters, they're pretty cold. And yeah, and then in summer, it's very hot, usually. But I suppose when you have your window open, it's not that unbearable. But nowadays, a lot of people just have AC, so I suppose it's just me who doesn't have AC, which it is quite painful, I have to admit, but it is what it is, you know? You gotta find solutions to problems, and I guess this is my solution. But I'm actually really excited to see what you guys think about the entire build. You know, I don't really do no Game Pass houses often, But I actually looked the other day at how well the other one did, and I was like, oh, so you guys like these kind of houses? And I guess I was just bored on a random... I don't want to lie. What day was it? I think it was like a random Tuesday day or something. Not even Tuesday day, night. Actually, I don't remember if it was day or night. But doesn't really matter, does it? No, exactly. But I was really bored, and I was like, what if I make a no Game Pass house? And then that's exactly how this house was kind of born. I mean, am I happy with it? I'd say so. I feel like it's as good as it can get for a no Game Pass. Oh, if I were to make it, obviously. But if I did have Game Passes, I definitely would change a thing or two. One room that I'm not necessarily really happy about, but I had no ideas for it, honestly, especially with no Game Passes. I was really upset that it's really hard to make like bookshelves, like built-ins in general, because it's practically impossible to do it with no Game Passes. I was suffering. I can't even explain it to you. It was so hard. So I'm not necessarily happy with how The Office came out, as I feel like I could have done a much better job if I did have at least advanced placement. Advanced placement is such a powerful Game Pass. Like, if you're even thinking about what kind of a pass to get and you don't have advanced placement, that's the first one you should get. I know that multiple story sounds a lot more important, but trust me, the amount of things you can do with advanced placement can't even compete to being able to build on multiple floors. I mean, of course, a lot of houses look much better with like 2 stories instead of 1, but I feel like custom stuff is a lot more important now when building in Bloxburg. Like, it really helps you achieve realism and stuff, but if you were to get a pass after advanced placement, I would definitely say get multiple stories. I keep on forgetting what the pass is called. Like, I mean, it makes sense why it's called that, but I feel like the name could be a bit more easier. But on the other hand, I'm not that good with names either, so why am I saying anything? Anyways, so yeah, just advanced placement is by far the most important Game Pass you could get. And this house just literally proved it to me. And I mean, landscaping. Landscaping is so hard to do without advanced placement. Like, even, I just can't. Like, not making custom trees, first of all. That's like one of my favorite things to do, and not being able to really do that, God, was it painful. I mean, as a lot of you may know, I'm not really the biggest fan of the regular Bloxburg landscaping. I'm really hoping that one day we're gonna get like a major landscaping revamp and getting new bushes and kind of get more detailed trees, if you know what I mean. Because the ones right now, especially like the trees, they're so plain. Like, they have absolutely no detail whatsoever. And with custom trees, they don't really look like that. They look a lot more detailed and more realistic. I guess it's like, I guess it matters to me more because, you know, it really does make my builds look more realistic. But it's just, I really hate using the regular Bloxburg trees. Like, I don't even remember the last time I actually used them. Because ever since the decal tree hack came out, I don't think I've touched those trees. One thing I do have to say though, which I'm really happy about, is definitely the layout. I really like how the layout turned out. I mean, I guess the layout of the main part of the house, where we have the living room, basically all the living spaces, is what I like the most. For example, I really like how I placed the formal living room, like it's right across from the office, and I also like where the office is. I feel like if I had Game Passes, I could make it so much better, and it would look, well, yeah, just a lot better. And I also love how the big room feels very spacious and open, even if it's like a no Game Pass. Because for no Game Pass houses, it's kind of rare to make them feel spacious and open. I mean, maybe I feel that way because the other no Game Pass houses I've done were all extremely tiny, and I decided to go for something bigger this time. Exactly because I've only done smaller ones before, and I thought that maybe I should try something different and actually make a bigger no Game Pass house for once. And I was actually really surprised to see how big it can get. If I really wanted to, I could have made it even bigger, because there were still like 4 tiles left on the other side of the house, well, across from the garage. So not that bad. I also definitely see this somewhere like in the mountains in the US. I'd say maybe Utah, somewhere around there. Maybe, I mean, okay, this kind of looks like a Texas house as well, even though there's not that many mountains in Texas. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure there aren't. Okay, it's time to do some Googling, because we love to do that on my channel. Does Texas have mountains? Oh, actually Texas does have mountains. I never knew. Oh, and they're pretty. I guess I just never looked into it, so I never knew, but that's actually kind of cool. So maybe I could base this in Texas. I always like to base my builds in a certain location, so I guess I'm gonna have to do some thinking on where I want to base this exactly. But I kind of knew that I wanted to base this somewhere in the mountains. I don't know if I said that earlier. I kind of had that in mind while I was doing the color scheme. I mean, obviously. And I saw someone comment that this is actually quite similar to my other mountain house that I made. I think around this time last year. And I think I do have to agree, but mainly just because, well, color schemes and mountain houses are usually very similar, so I couldn't really make it that, different. But I guess it does have its like own charm in a way, if it does have a charm. Kind of, I don't know. You see, I have like a love and hate relationship with this build. But honestly, I don't think I'm gonna put this in my favorites playlist. Just because, I don't know, I feel like it's missing something. And I know that I could add it with Game Passes, but it's just, since this is a no Game Pass, I'm limited. I'm very limited to what I could do. But I guess I did try my best with it. And I suppose after all, it did turn out to be like a nice little fun challenge. And I've been recently really obsessed with building challenges in general. I feel like there's such a good way to still make the game interesting for yourself. So if you're struggling with motivation and stuff and you actually really like building, I really advise you to try building challenges, because they sound kind of hard, but I guess that's like the whole fun of it, is because, it's hard and you're like forced to do something creative, and then you eventually figure it out, and then you start feeling happy about yourself because you made something creative and unique. I feel like the shell challenge itself really motivated me to try new builds and stuff, and then I just kind of felt like I wanted to make a no Game Pass house again to push myself out of my comfort zone. Pushing yourself out of your comfort zone is just very important in general. Like, it doesn't really matter where you're doing it exactly, whether it's business or art or even building a Bloxburg, you always have a higher chance of succeeding when you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, because that way you can learn new things, and next time you do something like it, you'll know how to tackle it, I guess. So, there's some little advice. But getting back to the build, I'm actually almost done coloring the house, and then I'm gonna move on to the landscaping, which it kind of took me a while to figure out how to do the custom trees, because I kind of knew how to do it, but then I didn't, and so I just needed to figure it all out. So it took me a couple of tries until I got them right, and then I just kind of placed them all around. I guess one thing that really bugs me a bit is the fact that the glass structural that I placed the bushes on, it's like so big, and it looks so odd if you look at it from a side. So I guess just don't look at it, and it shouldn't bother you as much. I also used 2 of the decals from the Modern Farmhouse, and then 1 from Gwen's inventory. So the decal I used for the trees is actually from Gwen's inventory, and then the other 2 are from the Modern Farmhouse speed build. I suppose I should talk about one thing that's really been, I wouldn't say bothering me, but it just, when I remember it, I get so awkward and just, it doesn't make me feel good, to say the least. But basically, I've been having a lot of awkward interactions with service people recently. Like, I'm not even kidding. I usually, okay, well, of course, we always have, awkward interactions with service people from time to time. But I've never had that many in such a short amount of time. For example, the other day, I went to this coffee shop, and I like to try out new coffee shops. I don't know. Going to the same place is fun and all, but it's just, when you try out new things, you kind of push yourself out of your comfort zone. Again, remember what we talked about. But you always have the chance to maybe, discover your, for example, new favorite coffee shop or something. It's always good to try out new things. And it's also kind of a bit boring to live the same thing over and over again. So that's why I like to try out new coffee shops. And I went to this one for the first time. Didn't really know much about it, just kind of read the Google reviews and saw that it was fairly good. So I was like, okay, let me go and give it a try. And I ordered a coffee. It took me so long to order a coffee, first of all. It was a weird coffee shop in a way, because I came in there and it didn't feel like a coffee shop. Apparently it was like a restaurant too. So, and I saw like waiters walking around. So I thought that, the waiter would come up to me and I would just order the coffee and everything would be fine. I was waiting there and sitting there for 15 minutes without anything, just on my phone, waiting for someone to come up to me. No one did. I was like, okay, well, this does not feel right. And then I saw the waiter bring a plate of soup, I think it was, to the person who was sitting right next to me. And then I looked at the waiter and I asked them if I can just order, I don't even remember what I ordered, but not that it matters right now. But I said half of the order and I was looking at the waiter and they looked at me in like such a weird way, as if like they didn't understand what I was saying. And I was like, oh God. And it was just like 10 seconds of awkward silence until I repeated my order, and then turns out they were just looking at me in a weird way and they understood everything I said. So that was awkward. Then they finally brought me the coffee, everything was fine, and then I needed to pay. Usually how things work at coffee shops, I mean, I feel like it's pretty much the same everywhere. You first pay for your coffee, and then you just wait until it's made, and that's pretty much it. But in that coffee shop, I saw people like come up to the counter and actually pay for everything once they're done, which, okay, kind of makes sense. And so once I finished and I was about to leave, I went up to the counter and I was like, okay, I had this and that, and then can I pay? And they were like, sure. And I was like, okay, I'll pay by card because I always pay by card. I don't know, it's very rare of me to actually have cash on me. It's really not the safest thing, especially when you can just keep your money in like a bank account and stuff. So I was like, I'll pay by card because, that just makes sense and they should allow you to pay by card. And they were like, oh, sorry, we don't accept cards. At that moment, I was genuinely confused because I had no idea what I was going to do, because keep in mind, I usually don't carry any cash with me and I didn't have anything. Thankfully, there was an ATM nearby, so I did just get the amount needed. But I guess it's just like the whole process of you like realizing that you can't pay, and it's just that awkward silence until you say that, yeah, I'm like, sorry, I need to go grab the money. Or even worse, when your card gets declined. Like, you can just see the judgment on the waiter's face and stuff, and it's just like, oh my God, no. Actually, I think this happened like a long time ago. It's been like 3 or 4 years at least now. But I can never forget this because it was hilarious. Basically, my friend and I, we decided that we wanted to go out for lunch, and so we went to this pizza restaurant, kind of. And I didn't have the most money in my bank account. I think I just had just enough for a pizza, and I thought that I had enough. And so we ordered everything, we ate, everything was fine, and then it was our time to pay. So the waiter comes up to our table, splits the check, and then he brings the card reader to our table. My friend pays with no problem, and then it's my time to pay. And then with my calculations, I thought I had just enough for a pizza. I was like 10 cents off or something, and I didn't have enough. And it was hilarious because I had no idea what to do. So I called my mom, and my mom had to come from work and pay for me. And it was traumatizing because every single time, obviously I had to wait for my mom for, I don't know, like 25 minutes at least. And every single time a waiter would walk by, they would just side-eye me so badly. And it was so awkward. Even to remember it hurts. I don't know how I managed to actually live through all of that. But, well, I guess it was a lesson learned that has never happened to me again. It's just because I would never want to relive that again. Honestly, I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. It was so awkward. But I mean, that was kind of my fault. Like, I should have checked. I really should have checked. But oh well, I guess things happen. It is what it is. You need to move on. I guess I kind of did move on. I did take it as a lesson, so that's all that matters. But just, if you never had that happen to you, just make sure it doesn't. Trust me, it's not fun. You are gonna remember it for a long time, and you are gonna be embarrassed by it. So just make sure you always have enough to pay for your food. Because sometimes, like, when your card gets declined or something, you would have cash. So I guess that's where having cash would make sense. I don't know, it's like, having cash is, I'd say, a risk, because in case of situations, that I told you about, it would make sense to have cash, but it's also really dangerous to have cash, like, if you get robbed, worst case scenario or something. So yeah, it's kind of like a risk. So I guess you just have to be careful. But yeah, I suppose I can share another kind of an awkward, I wouldn't call this a story because it has happened a lot, and it's always very awkward when it does happen. And I'll tell you why in just a second. But basically, in my local coffee shops, we have an option to either have it like hot or cold. And some coffee orders, when they're cold, they don't have the medium option, and I always forget that. I don't know, it's something that always slips my mind. I can never get to remember it. I always say my order so confidently without any issues, and then the barista's always like, oh, we don't have the medium option. But they don't say it in like a nice way. They say it in like kind of a rude way, which I understand why they get upset, but it makes me feel so dumb, and then I don't want to come back there ever again. And this has happened at least 4 or 3 times in the past month. Okay, it's not that much, but all of these incidents add up one by one, and then it's not really fun, is it? So it really makes me feel awkward when that happens. I've been trying my best to memorize stuff like this, so it doesn't happen to me again, but I have a bad feeling that it will. I have a really bad feeling I'm gonna forget that there's no medium option for iced drinks. I have no idea why, honestly. Okay, it really doesn't make any sense, does it? Like, why? I guess we'll never know why. But, like, I swear I've ordered some before that's like a medium, so I just don't get it. I really don't get it. And it makes me feel so embarrassed after. Not that it's the barista's fault or anything, it's really just mine for being dumb, but I honestly really hate when awkward situations happen. It's the worst, especially when you're like a socially awkward person. But when it comes to that, I feel like you could easily like grow out of it. All you need to do is just, put yourself out there, and then you just kind of get over it. Social anxiety is definitely something you can always overcome. So if you're struggling with it, trust me, it's gonna go away eventually. It's just you need to put yourself out there more. You need to speak to more service people or just people in general, and then it's gonna basically go away, really. I guess that's what happened to me, but I've had this conversation with my friends, and we all came to just a conclusion that eventually it does go away. So, but getting back to the build a little bit, while I was sharing my awkward experiences, I have finally finished the exterior of the house, and now I'll be moving on to the interior. In this part, you're gonna see me work on all of the living spaces and the office, and you're also going to see me start working on the guest bedroom. And then in the next part, which you're going to see probably soon, you're going to see me just finish the rest of the house. But I guess I never really talked about the interior that much, but I guess I was just trying to go for a more luxurious look. Comparing this to my other builds, it's definitely one of the cheaper ones. But if you weren't, then it is kind of expensive for a no Game Pass house, I know that. But I guess I kind of like it. I think it's worth it in my eyes. But I even tried to use like a more expensive color scheme, if that makes any sense. Lots of whites, just basically bright colors. So I tried to keep the mountain feel, but also make it bright and not really that moody. But I guess I am overall really happy with this house, and I hope that you guys like it as well. I'm so excited to see if any of you are going to rebuild it. And if you are, good luck. But I suppose this is the perfect time for me to say goodbye. I know it hasn't been the longest voiceover, but I did have fun talking to you guys. And I really hope to see you in the next one. But yeah, thanks for sticking around, and I guess I'll see you in the next voiceover, which I have no idea if it's going to be part 9 of the ski chalet, part 2 of this build, or part 4, I think, of the Tulum. So we're going to see. But yeah, thank you for watching again, and goodbye.
got something for you, and I can hardly breathe. Something draws me to you, it's taking over me. Don't know where you came from, but you're cutting deep. When the music's over, will you come with me? Tell me you can feel it, though we're oceans apart. I've got love for you, I've got love for you, and I know this magic sparks inside who we are. I've got love for you, It's the opener, trying to cross the sea. But it's broken, like a minor symphony. I'm gonna ask you for your heart. Try and let it be the fall within us stars. And if we fall back where we were, we'll be okay. We'll be reaching out, and my heart is with you. So much in between, things we've never seen. You're a mirage that my mind can't see through. Are you here with me? One day we can see. And all my life, unbroken ways, but I know that time makes ways. But I know that time makes ways. And all my life, unbroken ways, but I know that time makes ways. But I know that time makes ways. Yeah, I know that time makes ways. All my life, unbroken ways, but I know that time makes ways. But I know that time makes ways. And will my life be there one day? All I know is frozen waves, but I'm hoping time makes ways. I'm holding on to the image of you, live from far away, information highway. You're a mirage that my mind will cling to. Though you're far away, we can make a way. All my life, unbroken ways, but I know that time makes ways. We thought it was stronger, keeping your distance. I thought we were better. We can try to just hide from the pain by building our castle. We can build them again and again, and we can feel nothing. And I know that you're feeling alone, and we can do better. So help me to break through the stone. Help me to break through. And I thought that we could be something